Hey guys, this is casualnerdhammer.net, and this is round one of a Nerdhammer league that we threw together. It's kind of like a survival league. Maybe I should throw up a video of like how the league plays out. But there's 10 of us involved, and basically every round, like you have so many tokens. You start with like 2 tokens or whatever, and every round you can win tokens or you can lose tokens based on whether you win or lose. And then it's kind of like an elimination thing, last 2 men standing with all the tokens. We'll play in a championship and finish it up. It's just something neat we're doing on UB. I'm kind of going to use this video as more of like a teaching opportunity because I'm playing Mike, who's one of our newer guys, newer to Kings of War. But he's an old school Warhammer player. He's played forever. Has some awesome armies, beautifully painted. So we're just trying to give him the rope. So I figured this is a good teaching moment. I paired up with Mike first round. So he's playing this really pretty good undead list. That's kind of been a just the brainchild of one of our guys and just bouncing ideas off of each other. So this is turn 1. Vampires are starting to move up. I think I might have taken this picture. So deployment wise, I feel like he makes a mistake here. I'm setting up a deny flank type of situation with this house. I guess I should go over the list real quick. So here's the Champion of Death. I have 3 regiments of mummies. One has +1 to hit, one has Mace of Crushing, and I forget what the other one has. Oh, they have Chana Hate, so vicious. I have a unit of scavengers in the back. They have oh god, is it Dwarven Ale? No, that's Headstrong. Staying Stone. So instead of 11-13 or 12-13, I have 1 regiment of just regular warriors. I have 2 regiments of phalanx, no items. I have a Soul Snare, the Idol Showbeck. I have a Curse Pharaoh with the Blade of Slashing on the chariot, and then I have a troop of Rev Cav just hanging out here on the flanks. His vampire here is the furthest one out. He has a regiment of whites, 2 hordes of zombies, a regiment of wraiths, another regiment of whites, 2 units of werewolves, and then a Soul Reaver Cav, a vampire on dragon, and a necromancer who has the Staff of Reroll, and he also has Bane Chant. So yeah, it's a tight list. It's a lot. It's heavy. It's fast. It's hitty. Where I would say I would like to see Mike deploy a little differently is these werewolves. Nothing has items unless I mentioned it. So you're kind of limiting what they can do, right? They're going to be walking through the forest. They can at the double through here. So I kind of would like to see these like kept away. Now I know he's going to be able to position, keep me out of range. But if I was going against something that's a little bit faster, I don't think I'd deploy here. And I'm curious to see what he thinks about that, whether he just did this because he knows I don't have a lot of speed, although I do have this champion. They do move 18, so it's like, do I throw them out there and then they're going to be -1 to hit if they don't? I don't think Lycans have Pathfinder. I could be wrong. So anyway, yeah, that was the only thing I thought like in the beginning I wasn't really keen on. So here's his turn 1 finishing his moves. Adjust his line like such. This Champion of Death could get in there if he wanted to, but that doesn't feel real great for me. And then he took his vampire over here. This is going to buy me some time on this flank, and I think this was kind of a mistake on Mike. I think he should have he could have even put his vampire up into this area, or even just in this gap to kind of defend this gap and look for maybe like a hop over to back there somewhere. Let's see, I can actually draw this out. Let's have some fun with colors. So yeah, so his vampire was like here, and it flew that way. I think I would have rather see him either landed up in here somewhere, or maybe back here, so that he can kind of see this way and see this front, in case my chariot goes in the woods. These guys can only move 9 up here or 8 up here, so they're not going that far. I think that would have been a better play, because now this is going to take him one, turn to get here, or maybe here, and then another one to be really threatening down there. So yeah, I mean, that's just maybe that's a personal preference play, but I think just giving yourself a little bit more options than just flying them out like that. So yeah, moving on, we can cancel this drawing. Lose changes, yes. Okay, moving on down the line. All right, so I answer. This is my turn after turn 1 movement. I did Soul Snare, Life Drain, Drain Life. These guys for 4 wounds, not bad. And I position as such. Mike mentioned that this is a Napoleon type move where I'm doing these regiments in kind of a stepping order. So what I did here, I'm just keeping. These guys can charge here if they want. These guys, I don't know if they could charge here or not. I'm not really sure. These guys can't see over the 3-inch hill. And so, yeah, that's how that's set up. These guys can't see them or them. And so they could, they could fly to possibly these guys, something like that. But that just, I'm trying to set up some counter charges. I keep the birds in reserve here. I'm not sure where I'm going to need them just yet. I kind of fly them over a little ways. So knowing that I have some time on this flank, I just decided to pivot the chariot to face down the lines, and there's not much that is threatening him. They can't see over the forest. So I'm going to see how this all shakes out. So yeah, that's that turn. Moving on to Undead turn 2. Oh wait, actually, this started my turn. So he moved up like that. Not many threatening things. He put these guys into the woods. These whites on the side into the woods here, which were in the flank for the Rev Cav. Now my Rev Cav is going to be hitting on 5s. Their Thunderous 2 drops down to Thunderous 1 for being hindered. So yeah, I don't know if they don't pop them. I think they did 4 wounds. Get my drawing utensil out here. So yeah, so what I decided to do, I take the skeleton warriors that were here into these guys, because he moved up his lines like such. I take the birds, I fly them into the wraiths. I'm hoping that they can just at least do 1 wound. I know it's 5s and 6s, but they are height 3, which is kind of nice for those. So for them to even fly up over, they can't charge anything. They're going to have to do a fly, pivot twice, and then could be surge perhaps, if Mike sees that. I bring these spears over this way to kind of face down the lines. I don't really know what's going to happen on the left, so I'm just trying to bring some muscle into the center area. With that said, I bring these spikes into here. They're not going to pop zombies. They're just there to see what they can do. I do the same thing with Shobek. I bring him into these zombies. I know I'm probably not going to pop them. I did do a drain life on them again to kind of help them out, to see if maybe, hey, you never know, Shobek might get lucky, but he obviously doesn't. Yeah, 9, so 12 wounds, that's just not enough to do anything to zombies. But I have time, right? This vampire's over here. She's still wasting time trying to get back to the fight. So it was kind of like a feign flank almost, in a way. I guess it just kind of unfolded that way. It wasn't the main plan to start off with, but that's how it goes. And yeah, these Cav only do 4 wounds there. So up here, the way I have things positioned, this unit here cannot be seen by this dragon. They're in the front here, these Lycanar, so he can't really fit a double charge against pretty much any of these units, because the width of the regiment, your hordes are going to hang over. These guys are like right tight up against almost. So I'm not giving him a whole lot of options, and I still have my champion in the back that can, pretty much be looking down the flank of the lines depending on how he wants to do here. And also his dragon can't fit in there either. So some very tricky positioning here. I'm trying to buy a little time, but I'm also setting up some gambits to see if, how that's all going to develop. Moving on to, this looks like turn 3 vampires. All right. So here's how it shakes out. The Soul Reaver Cav going against this mummy unit. Let's just keep drawing. Just feels right. And they only do 8 wounds. That's about what I would predict. So they're on a 10 twice, being fearless and having inspiring really close. So they sit there. This Lycan unit that was in the center make this charge up against this mummy unit, and they only do 5 wounds. so they can't even pop those guys. So that's wonderful. He positioned this disliking unit here. I don't know if that was the best call. I think I would have just tried to throw them in there. I know you're just you're slugging away at mummy units, but yeah, I don't know. I think I would have just throw them in there, or I don't know. Yeah, that's probably about what I would do. The dragon just changed his facing, looking this way. These guys are kind of snookered. I don't know. They didn't attack anybody, I don't believe. But why wouldn't he go into the flank there? Must have been something in the way. Let me go back up. Anyway, that's the way it looks. I think this unit actually ends up going into the flank here. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I don't know how that worked out. I'll have to look back. Let's look back real quick. Oh, so they had to kill that Skelly unit. All right, so they killed the Skelly unit and refaced. Gotcha. So that makes sense there. So he went in here, did 2 wounds to the birds. They're great. They go back into Shobek. They don't do any wounds on that beautiful defense 6. This mummy horde goes into countercharges my phalanx and only does 6 wounds. I figured, they might be hung out to dry there, but I did get an extra turn here because the whites had to pop the Soul Reaver, or not the Soul Reaver cav, but the Skelly cav, and then they refaced with their 3 wounds. Life Leech is starting to work for the undead. They're getting some wounds back here and there. So yeah, moving on to my turn 3, and yeah, wow, that's confusing. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have to draw my turn 3 on this page here. So what I end up doing is I take these mummies into the flank here. So we got mummies. I get some regens back. This mummy unit flanks this werewolf horde, and this pharaoh also goes into the werewolf horde. And then this chariot goes into this flank here. The champion flies down to the front here and charges there. So birds go back in. Shobek does go back in with the spear unit into the front. I'm just trying to give them as much damage as I possibly can. I know this phalanx unit is on the right is definitely not going to pop the zombies, so they're just going to be giving up a flank to the whites. I don't really care about that. So what I'm going to do is ensure that this unit pops. I'm going to use my soul snare here. So that's against defense 2. So I'm trying to do that and trying to get the 6 wounds off. Maybe something amazing happens and those phalanx units stick. So yep, that's everything there. And this is what it looks like after combat. Yep, both units up top do their thing. They kill that unit. Putting this guy in was important. They ended up popping the werewolves there. This unit of werewolves actually gets wavered. It's not terrible, just because of the way things are positioned. It's going to be tough because of them being wavered, it's going to be tough for these guys to get into the flank here, because they can't. If these guys back up, the order of operation really matters in this part, because you can't back these guys up without charging this unit in first, and you can't make this charge without backing that unit up. So creates a little loop there. But there's other things you could do. I mean, this unit could fly over. They can pivot. They can get surged into a rear. He didn't really see. He's really still struggling to see the surge, the flyover surge potential of these flyers in this army. Which I think you need, because there's some units that are just straight up combat. The Lycans give you a great range. They can do some things on flanks, but you really need your whites to be getting some surges in. So what happens here? I do pop this zombie unit, and I reposition as such, so his Shobek's rear is protected from this dragon. I am giving up flanks to the spears. These are 105-point units. I do not care. They're amazing. They only hit on 5s and they hit on regular defense, but their nerve value is amazing for 105 points. Phalanx is amazing for 105 points. Get yourself some regiment of spearmen. In any army you possibly can field them, put them in. Put at least 3 in. I run 2 because I'm shuffling some points around for the Skelly Warriors so I can get a couple extra items. But really, I like running 3 for sure. So over here, these guys just do another... They actually pull off 6 wounds there. That's pretty decent. And over here... Oh, you know what? I did the Drain Lives against these guys and did incredible. The Drain Life popped 5 wounds. That's hitting on 4s, wounding on 4s, on 9. So yeah, we like that a lot. So that turn went very, very well. I mean, if this unit doesn't waver, that's a heroic turn in my opinion. Everything went exactly right. I have a lot of muscle. This is my muscle in my army. These mummy regiments. Yeah, I got some other things flying around and doing things, but on their own, they're not popping hordes of Lycan. You know, so it's a matter of getting, you know, my hitter pieces into flanks. The mummies hold forever. I mean, they got to be one of the best units in the game. I hands down one of the best units, mainly because I run the elite on the aura elite on the Pharaoh, which helps out tremendously, and then some good items to keep it going. All right, so Undead, they're gonna swing back now. It's time. Let's see what their counterpunch looks like. We got whites into the flank here, and this is after all the wounds were done. So they did 11 wounds total, and I stick on a double 1 right there. So that is, it just can't get much better. So he double charges his vampires into this spear unit. Both were flanks, and they pop that spear unit. Kind of ignored the soul snare there, but there's other work that these vampires apparently need to be doing. So that's okay. These guys ended up backing up with their waver, so they're facing that way. These guys ended up popping my scavengers there, and they're refaced like they are. This unit was a tough reform. There wasn't a whole lot he could do. So you're going to have mummies in the flank, and yeah, that's just a tough spot. So what I end up doing, and maybe we'll draw it here before we go to the next picture because I probably took it after. This chariot goes into the front here. They only need a couple more wounds. So I'm hoping that guy will just pop. I take the Champion of Death into the front there. I take these mummies into the flank there. That should be enough to pop that white unit. These mummies end up just moving up onto the hill, moving this way, and then this Pharaoh ends up charging his flyer, just trying to ground him. Which, I mean, the Pharaoh's great. He does, he hits on 3s, re-rolls 1s for being a mummy, and he's crushing 2, so he's going to be 3s. So 3s and 3s with 5 attacks. I should be able to get 1 through, hoping to get 1 through. Yeah. So then down here, Shobek actually goes into the flank here, and this spear unit goes against these whites because they rolled double 1s. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to try to help. I'm going to try to help one of these combats with the soul snare. I actually forget which one I tried to help. So let's see how that all turns out. Yeah, so that's what happened. The spear actually pop this white unit. They didn't have any inspiring near them. I don't know. They were on 8 wounds, so they needed 17 to pop them. So they only had to do. They're hitting on 5s, wounding on 5s. I think they swung way over, and it was enough to pop that white unit. They get 1 back for life leech. And Shobek was able to take care of the zombies either with the help of the soul snare or not. I don't really remember. I do 3 wounds here, so that's great. He's not going to be able to fly. He does have options. He can back up an inch and pivot and go that way. Back up an inch, pivot, go that way. Meanwhile, I reface just like this. Everything's pretty much in my front, and so Mike has some decisions to make. Let me grab a drink here. And this is what Mike decides to do. He double charges my Champion of Death with his Zombie and a Dragon and his Wraith unit. He ends up doing 9 wounds, and the Champion of Death sticks. He flew his vampire down here to face up my lines. I think he's a little late to the fight with this guy. It's unfortunate, but what can you do? And yeah, that's everything for the undead. And then my countercharge, Shobek got into the rear of the Wraith unit, and I take a double flank against his dragon here. So double flank here, boom, boom. These guys were just able to see him. Shobek ends up going into the rear here. I end up taking the champion into the front here. It wasn't really necessary. I was pretty sure these guys were going to pop him. But I probably should have thought that out a little bit more. So, yep, that's how that ends up. And as you can see, we were playing Dominate, by the way. Or not Dominate, Control. I didn't even mention what scenario we're playing. But it does come into effect here at the end. And this is just what it goes. We're fighting back and forth. Eventually I pop everything, and that's the end of the game. It was a really tough game. This one section here, my counter charges here were just, they were so brutal, and just the mummies hit exactly how I was expecting them to hit. They really just came through and did what they could do. One thing I just know with these mummy regiments, you're not going to pop them with one unit. So I do my best to set them up so that you can't get more than one unit in at a time. And if you do pop them, that's unfortunate because you're going to be rolling like, I don't know, an 8 twice, 9 twice, 10 twice. If that happens, that's just something that a risk that I'm willing to take. At least hopefully I have some counters in place, like, the champion of death to hit a flank, or at least threaten a flank. This was the big turn. I feel like those, and then the whites pop into the spears. The spears holding on a double ones, and the whites popping to them was pretty brutal for that flank. I mean, it kind of delayed everything, and especially popping the white units so that they're not even in play. That's pretty brutal. But that's round one. I end up getting what, 2 tokens? I think it's 2 tokens if you win. I forget. I'm gonna explain it all in a different video. But anyway, so that's round one. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.